Good evening once again. Apologies for that. We've just encountered a power cut. So we will begin again. Welcome to all of you who are present here, full house. And those of you who are joining us online. Tonight we gather as for the 4th episode of Teaching Through Conversation. So thank you so much for choosing to join us. Thank you so much for choosing to be present here with us this evening. As you can see, I'm riding solo. Reverend Molo has sent his love and apologies due to other work responsibilities that he had to attend to. Tonight's topic is one that we often do not talk about, often put aside, or perhaps thinking that, is it really okay not to be okay? That's where we are tonight. So the topic is, it's okay not to be okay. Emotional wisdom, biblical wisdom for emotional wholeness. And I want to say that this becomes even more relevant, seeing that we are in the month of July, which normally, when you look at the statistics, the rise is on a high in terms of suicide, in terms of mental health or mental illness. So this is the right time where we pause and reflect on those things that were instilled in us, how we are often, even today, prisoners of what we were taught, that no, you don't have to cry. No, it is actually, it's not that bad. And boys will be told that man up. And my question tonight for all of us is that the permission has been taken, therefore, for many of us to not be okay. At what point are we allowing ourselves to remove the walls and to go against the boundaries that were set, or how we were socialized? At what point do we decide to say it is okay, and I accept that I am struggling, and actually admitting and say I am not okay, I am not where I am supposed to be emotionally, and therefore it is okay to talk about it. So I want to check with all of us before I reference scripture. When was the last time when someone asked you, how are you? And they actually meant it. How are you doing? And you actually responded and being genuine to the question or in your answer. When was the last time? This morning. So were you honest with your answer, and did you really feel that someone was being genuine with their question?
Yes, it was. Because of the conversations that we had this morning, she could pick it up that how I answered the question, there's something wrong with me. So I did say, no, I'm not okay, especially this month. You know what's happening this month, and I wish I can give myself to you. And she would say, I wish not to be you, because I know how you feel. You know? So it's a go-to person, whereby if anything is wrong with me, I can just be able to call and say, my friend, it's that time again.
Wow, thank you, Sis Linda, for sharing. And I want to say, actually, we need not only to rely on prayer, but we need that practical support. We need that human support. Someone that you know that when you are not okay, even when you are not reaching out to them, but they will reach out to you and they will see it through you. And before we go on, I want to reference scripture, John 11, verse 35. When Jesus heard that his friend Lazarus had died, he didn't pretend. He didn't rush to perform a miracle, but he cried. The Son of God cried. And this is one of the shortest verse. This is a short verse in the Bible, but one of the most powerful. What does this therefore tell us, or tells us? What does it tell us? That feelings are not sin. That God does not rebuke us from being overwhelmed or coming face to face with our pain. The grief and pain, therefore, are okay. They are part of us being human. And he was in a human state, in his human nature when he wept, assuring us and showing us that it is okay not to be okay. Why do you think, therefore, it's okay, it's often the case, or it's hard for people to admit that they are not okay, especially in a church space? Do you often feel like that, or for you it's the other way around? You feel that in a church, that's where you are most able to become vulnerable?
Mfundisi, I think when we are here, when we are in church, we are expected to behave in a certain way. And I believe that's why sometimes we don't really come out to show the way we are feeling. To an extent that we try to act strong. And some, even me, I used to do it. I used to quote the Bible and stand on a verse, and I hide the emotions that I have, and I stand on that verse. Till I now find out that I'm not dealing with what is underneath. I'm just putting this verse on top to sugarcoat it. I have to deal with what is deep inside me. Then after I identify what is wrong with me, then as I come out of it, I use that verse now. Just like, for an example, we have this verse that I used to like, that through Christ I can do all things.
Yeah.
Then that moment, I'm in pain, I'm hurt. Instead of dealing with the hurt that I'm feeling, I'll just quote that verse and I move. And I'm moving with that pain. I'm not dealing with it. Till one day I got stuck. And I had to go back and deal with that emotion.
So thank you for sharing, Osmesi. For me, I do agree with you. However, I want to push it further and say, quoting the verse is not wrong, as long as you placing yourself in a verse. You are immersing yourself in the verse because of your state at that time. Like we know the verse that God is close to the brokenhearted. That is not only a verse that is relevant for funerals, but even in my brokenhearted, even in my own space, as long as when I remember that verse, then I bring it in a way that, okay, it means in me feeling weak, in me feeling lonely, in me feeling the winter season, even in spring, it reminds me that God is actually very near right now. So it's good, Osmesi, to know again, or not necessarily to know it by head, but to visit scripture and say, what is the wisdom biblically in terms of where I am right now, without watering down your feelings. And indeed, the church sometimes can be a place where we are not honest with ourselves, we're not honest with each other. We seem more to, we draw more into performing than really being honest with ourselves. How many are mindful of coming to the altar because we are thinking people are going to say, yo, he's always by the altar. What is going on in their lives? It's because of what has been happening. People really have such comments. And I often say, and this is what I taught as well in where I was previously stationed, that altar is not only a moment of when things are not going well, but you also come by the altar to thank God. So this is where we symbolize that we are meeting, we're coming face to face with God. So honesty and emotional honesty is not weakness. So we need to understand that emotional weakness is actually strength. It's where healing begins. And what do you think, therefore, emotional wholeness looks like in a Christian life, or in the life of a believer? What does emotional wholeness look like in your life as a follower of Christ? or in a believer. I'll tell you what, it is when we do not pretend. When we are in the presence of God and we do not pretend, but we process pain with God. I don't know if you understand that. When you vulnerably present yourself before the presence of God and you process pain in the presence of God with God. So it means at that time you lose yourself, you become your broken self, and which is okay at that time, because that takes us on a journey of wholeness. And a journey of wholeness actually is a journey. It's not one time. It's not a once-off event. Is a journey. So it's having people I can talk to honestly, as you said, Sis Linda, admitting and also when people say, no, you are not okay, and do not try to act strong. So that talks to emotional wholeness. Knowing that even in sadness, God is still with me. Especially for you young people, you can easily feel that you are all alone, and be open to help from prayer and therapy. Anyone who wants to share anything in terms of emotional wholeness? How have you seen it in your own life?
Thank you for the opportunity. I think in terms of emotional and feeling and belief as a Christian, this thing it goes a long way as the believers of God. Because now, listen, remember last week on our teaching to conditional, we had a chance to open up as the. So I think for me, coming to teaching as conversation all this session, it's giving me a light on my Christianity, because during Sundays we only follow the straight protocols where we don't have to share our own opinions, you see. So as for that question that you have posed at the beginning, that how often did they ask you, how are you feeling? So during Sunday, maybe you can ask us, how are you feeling when you are about to leave? But now you have a chance.
But actually, I'm not even interested because I have to greet someone else.
Hey, you see, you're like, hey, you're just greeting for the sake of greeting, because you are just everyone needs to be on the line. So I think this session, it's giving us a platform to see the truthness of God and to see how God is brought in terms of our Christianity. So I have questioned myself that Sundays are just to follow the procedure, but these sessions are now open up for us to have time with him and to bring us the light about God and how God have done to us emotionally and physically. So I think that's my take from today. These classes, they are progressing us to somewhere.
Wow. Thank you so much. And I want to believe that, Zamukusha, that then teaching through conversation, as you've said, is also helping us to build or to walk towards that emotional wholeness as we get to be more enlightened or get more insight in terms of the biblical wisdom. And I want to say that emotional wholeness doesn't mean that we are always happy. You can't always be happy. I'm not always happy. And it means if you are always happy, then there is something. But emotional wholeness says that even in our sadness, we are not moved, but we are still anchored in Christ. And I said earlier today that we do not move out of, remove ourselves or move outside the boat, because it is in the boat where Christ is present. So we wait the storm, we ride the storm, but we hold on to Christ, That is emotional wholeness. And that may sound easy. It's difficult. It is difficult, but it is a process of acknowledging your feelings first. And I'll give you an example that I'm one person who, all of us, or many of us, have our way of coping. And many times I don't like a downtime, because a downtime for me means I have to think, I have to go into that space where I often run away to be and encounter my feelings. But sometimes it is necessary that you force yourself to be in that space and face your own storm at that time and hold on to Christ. Have you ever experienced a moment where God met you in your own brokenness? And how did that feel? Where you felt so weak, where you felt so alone, where you felt so despondent, like the world is coming to an end, but you felt embraced by God, the presence of God, and it becomes that moment of being overwhelmed with emotions. Sometimes it happens in a church space, during singing, during a prayer, during a sermon, and people would think, all right, Haibo, Majuena, what's going on? She's got many problems. No, it's that presence when you feel that embracing or being enveloped in God's presence, and emotions they become loose, and the tears fall. And I'll tell you, when I felt that moment, one of the I call them the godly moments, the holy moments. It is when I was also now preparing for my mother's funeral. I felt so alone. I felt it's just me and my younger sister. I'm like, okay, small family is nice, but sometimes it's not so nice. But it is at that time where I felt embraced by God. Otherwise, I would not be where I am. So, and that response comes with emotions. So, I don't know. Have you ever had that kind of moment? Yes, that's it.
For me, it was when I lost my best friend. She didn't die, but like we grew apart, I guess. I don't believe we grew apart, but I'll use that term. So we used to share everything, like she was my other half basically. So when it happened, I didn't really acknowledge the loss. Like I just moved on from it, and then it would come to me like after a few weeks. Then I'd cry at that moment and then leave it alone. So it would keep on coming back. And then when I finally let myself to feel the emotions and everything, that's when I healed from the friendship. I still think about her every day, but not the way I used to. Like I embrace the good moments. I remember her like with the good memories, not with the bad ones. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
No, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for your openness. Yes, Catherine.
Okay, sometimes during like church services, it happens that like I would get emotional, and I didn't understand it. I thought maybe it's one of those days. I didn't think that it was
A holy moment.
yeah. I was like, oh, like, one of those days. But it was a sort of like feeling that you can't really explain. That's why I thought, oh, it's one of those days. And I would always look down so that people can't see me. But then the one I can think of is, it happened in a dream. after Mama passed, and Mama would come and visit me in my dreams a lot. But then this one specifically, I was like kneeling down and we were both hugging each other. But then there was this other like hug that we both felt together. And usually in my dreams, I'm like constantly crying. But then this time I was not crying. But like it felt like we were both embraced by God. Like she was telling me, like, even if she's not here, we are still both under the same umbrella, which is God. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yes, Osmesi.
For me, it started as a conflict, because where I came from, being in that space was described somehow. It seemed like it was something that was wrong. But the day I remembered well, it was when, I don't remember her name, Umfundisi, that came and preached on Mother's Day. Yes. She mentioned something about us mothers taking care of our children. And remember, I left my first child at home. So it was something that I've been carrying for almost 5 years. This thing, like, I abandoned my child. Every time I'm praying, I feel like, okay, makazobona lo, kuzobane, we would feel like, why did you leave me? Yeah. Then you ended up having another child. So I had that guilty that I used to carry each and every day. So that day when she was praying, it started as a like my stomach was turning. Then I felt like an urge I wanted to scream out loud, because the thing was pushing me to release that thing, the guilt that I was carrying. Because she mentioned something about God's plans. We never know what they are. We never know how they come. So this thing that I've been harboring in my heart, thinking that I've abandoned my child, it was a way of God showing himself through the whole process. And the other day, it came when I was in Sim. Like I always mentioned, I was taught by Sis Wise. But there are some times when I am playing in Sim, I met God through that process. Because I remember there's a day I in Sim, and I felt like this was not me. It was God who was holding my hands. Because that day, the last beat, that was also Baba Mlefi's last beat. Until now, I still play that. And when I play it, I just burst into prayer. So I felt those are the two most important events.
Thank you, Osmesi, for sharing. Yes, Anela.
I don't know how, like, so I was going through a breakup in January, because yeah. So
As long as your mother knows anything.
this is the first time she's hearing about it.
Because
That's the first time. That's why I'm hesitating on speaking about it. But I was going through a breakup in January, and oh wow. And then I think with me, it's very hard to express my emotions. I just pack them away and just laugh it off. But with this one, I don't want to say I cried for a boy, but I cried. Like, January was so terrible for me. So, and then there was organization opening. So, bear in mind, this person, we did everything together. So it was just one of those moments where I couldn't even call him and say, hey, dude, this is happening at church. Because when I got full Wesley Guild member, he was there, you know?
Yeah.
And now I'm standing here at church, I'm representing Wesley Guild. I couldn't tell him. Okay, I called him on Friday. I told him, hey, dude, at church, this is happening, da 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 da. I know we're no longer together, but you know what? It means so much to me if you came. And then he was like, no, dude, we're broken up. For you to heal, I can't be there. Yeah, but because Vele, yeah. And he didn't come. But when I was standing here, on that Sunday, I think I looked at the door, like hoping that he would come. Don't laugh, Mfundisi. Hoping he'd come, because like, you know, in the movies, Tara loves me, you know, but he didn't come. And then that's when, I don't know, I think I left my body. I remember watching like the live, ne? And I could see the moment I left my body, because I just went deaf. Yes, I spoke, and you know, and my mother told me, no, but I didn't hear anything. I think that's when God came. He saw, you know what, I needed like something, but I wanted it from a person. And he came and he just took over. So I think that's where like I processed good, sharp, ne? But I have God. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
For me, it was a difficult one, but I have to process. It was during my university, 2020, and when I get home, my mother she had an operation at the spine. So when I get home, it was March before they closed, before the shutdown of lockdown, because they sent us home. They said go home, and when I get home, they didn't tell me that my mother she had the operation, because they said I'll be disturbed at school and stuff. But when I get home, and then I found her laying in the bed, I was like, and then I asked what's going on. Seeing the tears running in my mother, and then she told me that I'm sick, and I'm not sure that I will recover, or tomorrow I will be still alive. So those words, they hurted me so bad, to the extent I couldn't even sleep that day. I spent the whole entire night. I was checking her each and every minute and second and hour with mother. I still find that you are disturbing me. I'm having now a conversation with my God. So let me speak with God. If it happened that you take me, so just take me. So those words, it felt so bad to me. But with the grace of God, she's walking, she's fine, everything is fine, and I'm happy with that. So that moment hit me so badly. To today, I still ask him why we're saying that. Said one day you'll understand when the Spirit of God is coming to you. So I felt it. That was for me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. But God's love is not only felt in our perfection, but God's love meets us even in our moment of pain, even in our most lowest moments, when we feel so alone. You know, there's a saying that what does it say? When days are dark, friends are few.
Hi, it's at night. They're sleeping. Look, they're sleeping.
But let me tell you, Christ is that friend that will always be there. Christ is that companion that is so faithful, that keeps you company at night, that holds you tight when you are not okay. So it is indeed okay not to be okay. So before perhaps we draw to a close, who would like to add or say anything or share? Sis Linda.
It's not a sharing, so it's just that I'm reflecting to when you opened, in terms of it was difficult for us to be able to speak how we feel, the emotions and all of that. So our kids are the most fortunate children, most fortunate generation. Though at times they can overdo it. They overdo it, because at my age that time I wouldn't even be able to speak about a boyfriend. You see? So I wouldn't. So on the other hand, I would always say to myself, okay, sometimes I consider myself fortunate, only having one girl and 2 boys, but I miss this thing that I never had with my mother. Because the same thing that we are afraid to do as we were growing up, it is the same thing that we grew up with, and now we become a reflection to our kids. But that reflection, does it give what they need? Because if I have to speak to my partner and be able to cough out everything, men are not like us. We are at least sensitive to a certain point, whereby at the end we speak. Men will just be able to say, no man, let's not go there. But now, how do we assist them to be able to communicate and say, look, this is what happened. I'm this way because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because also, we are their pillars. They are our pillars. Then it's few of them who will be able to say, at my space, I speak to God and ask for strength, for him to be able to allow me to offload whatever it is which is there. And it is not all of us who will be able to say, yes, I can be able to say I'm in that space whereby at any given time, I know God is in my side, on my side. Because of how our beliefs are not the same. And also how we trust in God is not the same. Because the other person will be like, you're busy saying that you've got a relationship with God, but what is he doing for you? Because I need to see it physically. You won't be able to see it because you are not there yet. You need to be in that zone for you to be able to see it. So we need to continue with that teaching to say, look, let go. Let go for you to be able to heal. Because the more you hold into it, you will never heal. You'll always have a stumbling block, or whatever path you want to take is going to be a cul-de-sac. You'll always think about what my father said, what my mother said. I'm not worth it. I cannot do this. But yes, it was him, her saying that because of his experiences, not your experiences. Because we've got this thing of saying like, we are preventing our children, not telling them what happened, to think that if I can tell her, she's going to judge me. And how will I be the reflection of my child? And when she speaks to me, I'll be like, I wish I wouldn't have said it. But now we are in a zone whereby, no man, I didn't have this opportunity with my mother or with my father. I was prevented. But let me do it with my kids. For them to be able to do it with their kids also. You see? Because I always said to my younger sister, if you haven't cried for a guy, then your pillow becomes wet. You've never seen a relationship.
I should say right.
I disagree.
Yes. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for talking about what men normally, how do I say it, find it hard to show emotions. And I can't speak on behalf of men, but I want to say that we need to, it begins with understanding as human beings, that all of us are human beings. None of us is a stone. We are not robots. We are human beings. A man, therefore, is a human being. So as a man, that's where it begins, that you, and as I've said also right at the beginning, that you need to let go of what you were taught. Don't be a prisoner of what you were taught in the past, that you cannot cry. Because bottling up emotions, they do not lead to anything anything good rather. It festers, and then it has a way of what's the word? Of erupting.
Manifesting.
Of manifesting, of exploding. And it explodes in many ways, even in a bad way. So, and again, as women, we've got a role to play. As you said, Sis Linda, we need to encourage them to speak. We need to encourage them to open up. And again, as women who are involved with men, with the men that you are in a partnership with or in a relationship with, don't expect a man who is a robot. when they feel low, when they feel they are low, they are at their lowest point, and then you call them names because we are not helping. But I don't know about you, and I said to someone that no, I actually want a man with emotions. I want a man who's able to show me when they are not well, because weakness at that time, emotions at that time, weeping and crying is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength, of being aware of being aware of your feelings and coming face to face with your feelings. I need a man who is aware of their emotions and respond to their emotions, because if they are not responding to when they are overwhelmed by negative feelings, it means therefore they will withdraw, even not to show the emotions that are positive, of love, of affection. Are those kinds of men that are those the kind of men that we want to raise? Even to our young boys. You've got a son. You need to tell him right now, you need to teach him now that it is okay, my boy, to cry. Not when they are crying and say, hey boy, girls are going to laugh at you. No. So thank you, Sis Linda, for sharing. And as before, actually, check online if there are questions for us. Perhaps you've got a question for me. You've got a comment outside what I've spoken about. Is there a question that you want to pose? Since we've got young people here, how are you dealing with your emotions? I know you guys are dealing with a lot. More than we could ever imagine.
Exactly.
Yes, Ita.
You know, it's not.
I think because of the talk for today, it's that it's okay not to be okay. So I think I'll just leave words of encouragement. Yeah, that with my experience, I realized, okay, the past few years I was really not happy. I was in a dark space. And when you ask the question, okay, when was the last time like somebody asked you if you're not okay? And I actually realized, okay, I've actually been okay, you know? And I think me before, I would say okay, it's like when even I'm feeling tired, I'll just say I'm not okay. So I feel like sometimes we use the word, these words like just nje, you know? And how do users all at some point you become that, you know? So I think the prayer that I usually make, and I'm not saying life is like great, you know, but life is like okay, you know. For the first time I can say, wow, like bilwaka it at ease, like I'm at ease with myself. And I think it was like that once I realized what I can't do this thing alone. I just need to give it to God. So everything feels a little bit lighter than it did before. So the prayer that I want maybe everybody to leave with is that you ask God that, God, please protect me from myself. Because I realized, okay, I actually made myself not to be okay at times. Like I would allow things already to get like to have the power, you know. And I think, comparing the 2 years now, it shows really, like last year I was letting everything just make me not be okay. So speak kindly to yourself, be patient with yourself, and even if you're in the healing journey, you are at the right place. Why not just take your time, sky rush, because once you rush it, it doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. So I guess,
Clap that.
Thank you so much. That was the best advice. Yes. Thank you so much.
I feel like she's talking to me right now. It's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
I'm a very emotional person. I'm not okay.
And it is okay.
It's okay.
It is okay.
But I think I have this thing of, we always put a mask on this. And I'm used to that. I grew up like that. Ukuthi izinto zifakwa under carpet. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not okay.
And it is okay.
For me, Moruti, I think it's the opposite of her. Sometimes I'm one person who doesn't speak a lot, but if I'm not okay, I will try and hide it, but eventually it will come out. I cannot go for a long time hiding it. It will eventually come out that I'm not okay. I cannot pretend. I'll just say it as it is politely, and and try to make sure that whatever that is hitting me, it's shown, or I express it to someone that I can trust. So I don't normally keep quiet. So for me, it's not, if it's not okay, it's not okay. I cannot keep it for a long time. But with that also, when you are not okay, when you're in a dark space, I've seen that with myself, God becomes nearer, everything just happens. You just then again find that strength, and that strength is through God. So what I do most of the time, my children would always laugh at me when I'm not okay. I'll play my own gospel music and all those things. So that's how I find my connection with God, and everything just seems to gel in and work out just okay and perfectly for me. So that's how I do things.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Just like Sister Focus said, I am the firstborn at home, so most of the responsibilities and even the kohlolo, ukushanyela, yabona lento, everything was mounted. It was piled here, and you know how these siblings are. When they know that everything has been entrusted on you, they will make sure that they mess up, so that when your mother comes, the punishment is on me. So Mfundisi, umama, my mother used to beat me to an extent that if I see, even on the TV, umutu ashaiwa, I become, it hurts me, and
You became traumatized.
Traumatized. And it is now when you are here. I remember telling you in the morning that I'm so grateful that you are here, because I thought that is what all mothers are. My mother, there's nothing that was good in her eyes. When I'm dressed, she would find something just to say, just to despise the way I am, and I grew up with that thing that I'm not good enough. And she didn't realize that it affected me to school, because I become so slow. Because everything that I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to please her. So when I came here to South Africa, I felt like God was moving me to come to a healing space. And when I got here, the minister who was here was a man. And imagine a man teaching you that you time. Sisi, this man did not hit you because you are not beautiful enough. Just know that he did it for himself. Because I thought I was being beaten because I was not good enough. This man was abusing me because I'm not good enough. So it needed that person to come and unwind. And imagine, it took 5 years for this unwinding. And thank God you came in that moment. And I remember telling you that I never felt, I thought I could not wear heels. But I learned wearing them when I saw you wearing them. And it encouraged me. So in those painful moments, she is my mother. She will be my mother. And I love her. But there is something that she put in me that God now had to come in human form and started unwinding those things. Even people in the soup kitchen, they can wonder, is this, I'm cutting veggies, I'm saying, is this good enough? Because I'm not even sure about cutting veggies. I have to ask the next person for an opinion. If she says, it's fine, miss, then I'll say, it's fine. So this is what I want to say to us as mothers and as anyone. Because what we are saying, you don't know how it impacts this next person. She equipped me. I can survive. I can go in a jungle and survive. But my siblings, they can't. They don't have those survival skills. I'm struggling now, but they always call. Sisi, how do I do this? How do I do this? She was supposed to transfer it to everyone, to all of us, so that we can be. But now, it's me now who has to, when others are crying, I have to level up. I have to keep my head high. Even on my auntie's funeral, I didn't cry. Not because I didn't want to cry. Because I was looking, okay, then this grandson, then these things that I have to do, I had to. So after the funeral now, that's when I came to my space and I had to mourn her.
Bible says it's okay not to be okay. It's not just a conversation. It's not just a topic, but it's a journey to healing. It is the truth. It is us coming face to face with how we feel and the healing that we need. It is a journey towards healing. Admitting that, yes, I'm not okay. And allow yourself that space. When you're not okay, know that you are not okay and be in your own corner. I become a mess sometimes, and my children know as well, Mama Nama, when I'm not okay, I don't come out of my room. I crawl, I cry to a point where I crawl. But it is in those moments, I don't want to lie. I've given a testimony so many times when we are gathering for retreat as ministers, and I would say, I'm a person who loves a lot, and I cry at the same rate. But then it is during those moments where I felt the love of God. So thank you so much for your honesty. Thank you for your openness. And thank
I have a
you.
question.
Okay, yes, madam.
Clarice, it's fine. But with me, I can feel that I'm not okay, but I can't say it. I can't show it, and I can't say trauma. I once showed it, and I don't know. I think maybe it's a defense mechanism, but I don't know from where. Because I think when lost, you were literally like the first person for me to say, "No, I'm not okay," because I pack it up, I fold it, and I just hope I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't even talk about it. I'm not one to say.
Do you guys ever feel that when you are not okay, it's like you are spiritually not strong, or your faith is less? That's not the case. Because Jesus is very much mindful and aware of our tears. As I have said before, that he himself wept. He showed emotions. He said it is okay. And that's why he says, throw at that banner, what's written on that banner, come to me, those of you who are weary, who are heavily hearted,
Is it
who are
okay?
weighing.
Sorry. Is it okay to be angry at God?
It is okay to be angry at God. It is okay to ask God questions and sit in your moment of stillness. And remember, it is in such moments where you question God, you ask God, you say, God, I'm not happy with 1, 2, 3. But then again, you pray. And I said it to them, I'll tell you, that you wait again for God to respond. I said to them this afternoon, God always responds. Do we have that ability of discernment to hear even after you said, I am so angry at you, God? And then you hear how he responds, or you feel how he responds, because God always hears and responds. Sorry to cut you in, Anna.
Oh, I was asking, how do I do that? Like, actually allow myself to yeah, to be not fine. Because I think with me, I'm so busy that I don't have time to feel sad. And at first I thought that was a good thing because the devil likes an idle mind.
It's because you choose to be busy. That's your coping mechanism. Like I said, as well, I run away from being in that moment where I don't get. When I'm not at work, when it's my Monday off, yes, that one I get to make time. But when I auto relax, I appreciate that. But when I'm on leave, I struggle because I've got this ample time on my hands. But then again, I find something that will help me to move myself away from being, immersed in my emotions. Maybe focus on my schoolwork, which is not a good thing because sometimes you have to come and confront how you feel at that time. And then after you've confronted it, that's when now you take steps towards, okay, how do I now come out of this? Because it's not a good thing again to be in a dark moment for a long time. And the Tabo said something that I always also say, that I've lost so much in this lifetime. Not only my parents. People think when you say you've lost, it's only human beings. I've lost, and I lost count. So I'm not okay, but I'm okay. But one thing that I know that makes me okay, and that I look at life, I love life. I look at life, I'm like, God, thank you. I love living. I love this life with everything that you have taken. I have not lost you. You are not lost. And someone may say you are spiritualizing it, but that's the honest truth, that God is not lost in all this process. But allow God to take over your life when you are at your moment of weakness. So if you allow me, therefore I will. Is there a hand? I can't see.
No, just a question. I don't know, maybe out of the discussion. I just wanted to ask something. Hori, does the church have sessions like this, but only for Abomam?
Like,
if I'm making
like
sense.
any female person.
Not the girl child, but
Yes.
only Abomama.
No, I mean not in organization, not in a uniform.
No.
For everyone.
Yes.
We do not have.
You know why I'm asking the question?
Yeah.
I'm asking the question because at times I have this thing of how, as women in particular, deal with issues amongst ourselves and how we drag each other down. And we don't have that space of reflecting. Ne? And you will find when you look at the media industry, the shows that they do, I feel personally, we get exposed to a situation whereby when you reflect on yourself and you'll be like, phew, I wasn't aware of it. Some of the things which were hinted, I am doing them. But then when do you get the space or the time for you to then be able to say, this is what I feel is wrong that I'm doing, and I am transferring this to my girl child who will be married at whatever time. What am I teaching that child? Because so many things which are happening, women are the enabler of those things. They're an enabler of those things, and our mothers are also the contributing factors of those things to us as women, and also to our counterpart as males. Because how are we going to rectify our mistakes if we don't look deep inside ourselves? Because sometimes we would see your women in Bizo and all of those and conversion and all of this. I've seen a lot of them, but the discussion there, it's not deeper as I'm asking the question now. It's a face value thing. We don't get insight to it.
You've just given me you've just actually contributed into my program for August, that we need to go deeper. That yes, we may be where we are right now. Yes, we're not where we used to be, but how did we get here, and how do we help each other to get to the next level? Because I often say, I totally concur with you, Sis Linda, that like I said, even with men opening up, they're not only healing themselves, but they're healing the next generations to come. Next the boys who are what's the word? Their sons, they are bringing up. So even with us as women, do you know that we respond from our emotional trauma? We respond from our past hurts, our past experiences, and we become therefore perpetrators of oppression on each other, because oppression is the only language that I know. It's the only thing that I have experienced. And I often say that you cannot give what you do not have. So you are totally right, my sister, that we need a space where as women, and remember, we are in a different space again as women. We may all say we are fighting towards gender equality, but my kind of gender equality looks different to you, because life may have brought me to a certain experience which you have not experienced yet. And when I say, Sister Sipokas, this and this that you are accepting is unacceptable, and you're going to look at me as either I am jealous or I am turning you against what looks like a good thing for you. So my no to you may be a yes. So she is right. We need to equip one another. We need to journey with one another, that again, I do not hurt others because of my hurts. So thank you so much. A topic definitely for August. Yes, Katleo, as we draw to a close, as we close. We've been drawing to a close.
Yeah.
My question is, Anele spoke about her not being able to process, or rather identify her emotions or whatever. And that's the same thing that I struggle with. It's not that I don't want to, maybe I don't want to talk about them. But like I can't really identify who right now I'm feeling like this. Yes, inside I'm like, okay, I don't feel the best, but I don't really know what to name that thing. And then you said something about us like allowing God like to be in that space with you. But then like how do you do that? Like what is something practical that you can like advise us on like how to do that? And another thing, I think happy we don't talk about grief a lot. Like when I'm talking about this, guys, I didn't know that grief feels like this. And sometimes I convince myself that Mama's still alive. We're just not talking right now, and that's how I'm coping. And when I hear how Mama is going through certain things, it's hard for me to call her, because then I get into that space where Mama is really gone. But yeah.
It's okay not to be okay, and it is a journey. The practical examples, or the practical ways rather, in terms of allowing yourself to be embraced by God. First, you present yourself through your cries, through your tears, because God understands and sees and hears the language of tears. You come to God crying, that's what Mehana did, and you pray to God. That's how we present ourselves. That's how we become in the presence of God. And remember, prayer is when we realize or we are aware of our limitation, our humanity, that I am just as capable or as able to a certain point, but now you allow God to take over. You surrendering yourself, your whole self in the presence of God. And you say, God, I am not okay right now. God, I am weak. God, I need your strength. And believe you me, there are many moments where I'm saying, God, I am weak. God, this is beyond me right now. And God strengthen me. And that scripture that Sis Messi quoted earlier becomes alive. Oh God, I can only do it through your strength. And people get to wonder, where does she get the strength? Where does he get the strength? It is God's strength. Because you have allowed yourself to be human, you have recognized your limitation, and you have said, God, take over. And God does. Because I often say, God, if you fail, then you have just failed being God. If we don't taste, then we taste away. But again, this moment, this period, this season, it is totally okay. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for your openness, for your vulnerability. So as I have said, that your participation, this is an uneasy topic. This is a most difficult topic to admit that it is okay not to be okay. So continue taking care of your own heart, taking care of your own feelings. And sometimes just be about you, because it is when we fill up our own cups that we are able to serve others. We cannot serve from an empty cup. Zamo Kushe, thank you for joining us, especially as the only male amongst us, and being so open and being and vulnerable with us. So may we continue to take care of our own hearts until next time. Thank you so much, and God's blessings.
Thanks for watching.